master's been expecting you. Come in.
Do have a seat. Can I get you a cup of tea, or maybe something a little stronger? A glass of sherry, maybe? Pleased to meet you. My name is George Alfred Haden Haden Best. Do you like my library? This is my favourite room in the house. I like to sit here and read my books and study plants and animals. The girls, Emmy and Alice that is, my adopted daughters, like to sit in the morning room where they paint and draw and admire the photographs Alice has taken, or look back at the holidays we've taken together across England. No, I'm not married. It's just me and the girls who live here, and the servants, of course. They came here to live with me when they were teenagers, and their company and companionship has been a great comfort to me, and we are a very happy little unit together. Their own families live nearby, and they go to see them from time to time. Becoming my adopted daughters has opened up a new world for them, allowing them to pursue their creative interests and enjoy travelling. They would have probably been working long hours in shops, or as teachers maybe, who knows. Anyway, I was born in 1839 at Corngreaves Hall, near to here, at the bottom of my own parkland. It's a rather grand house, although we didn't own it. My father worked for the New British Iron Company as a senior manager, and the house was owned by the company. His name was Benjamin Best, and my mother had been born Emmeline Barrs. I can see you're wondering why neither of them had the surname of Haden. Well, as this is Haden Hill House, standing on top of Haden Hill, next to Haden Old Hall, well, you're going to have to listen rather carefully to this bit to find out. It was my mother who was related to the Haden family. Her grandmother, Mary, was a great-granddaughter of Henry Haden the Younger, who helped to make the family fortunes in the late 1600s. She married John Haden when she was just 24, and he was in his late 60s, as he just remembered he needed to have an heir, as he was the last of the Hadens. So he picked a young bride with Haden ancestors to ensure Haden blood continued. My half-aunt, Aunt Eliza Haden, was born soon after, but only a few years later, John died. Young Mary soon remarried to the new fire and brimstone curate of St. Giles Church, Reverend George Barrs. They had 3 children, Uncle Frederick, Uncle Alfred, and my mother, Emmeline. So, although I am not a blood relation of the last Haden family, I do have Haden blood flowing in my veins. And why? Well, although I had Haden as a middle name, I took it as a second surname when I inherited the estate. My childhood was not a happy one. By the time I was 13, both my parents were dead, and my 2 sisters, Emmeline, named after my mother, and Laura, and myself moved into Haden Old Hall with Uncle Frederick and his wife, Aunt Mary, and our half-aunt, Anna Liza Haden. Our other uncle, Alfred, lived at his own house called High Haden, not far away. This was a blessing, as he was a very obstinate and extremely blunt in his dealings with anyone he met. Uncle Frederick was not a pleasant man for young people to be around either. He was rather narrow-minded. He was a strong, hard-bitten man. He was chairman of the Dudley and District Bank, a colliery owner and chief magistrate, and was guardian of the Dudley Poor Law Union. His wife, Aunt Mary, had a very severe speech impediment, and it was extremely difficult to understand her, which she got very... One day, a policeman came calling to get some documents signed, as Uncle Frederick was a local magistrate. He came across a gardener and asked if the old... well, I can't say that word. I'm a gentleman. Was in, and turned out that the gardener was my Uncle Frederick, who let out a tirade of expletives and rude words at the poor police officer, who Uncle Frederick later tried to have sacked. Uncle Frederick and Aunt Mary may have been rather cold and grumpy people, but my half-aunt, Anna Liza Haden, was always very kind and affectionate. She would read to us and give us much-needed hugs and smiles. Once I was grown, I attended St. John's College in Cambridge before returning to the family estate, where I worked as a farm manager and bailiff for Uncle Frederick. I lived in a farmhouse which was situated where my new house is today. Do you know that I have been the only person, as far as I know, to have lived in Corngreaves Hall, Haden Old Hall, which I started building in 1878. But that's stories for later. I wasn't a rich young man. Uncle Frederick was rather mean and did not pay me well, and I used what money I had to help out my sisters. Uncle Frederick died in 1875 of a very painful malady, although I know not what this was. Aunt Annalisa died in 1876, which grieved me greatly, and Uncle Alfred died at the end of 1877. I was now the sole heir to the Haden Best estate and fortune, and it was a rather extensive fortune. My family had been buying up parcels of land in the 1600s and renting it out and then buying more land both here and elsewhere, such as Kinver. There were also a few good marriages to ladies who brought a fair dowry into the family. Then Uncle Frederick sold mineral extraction rights to some of our land, and we gained even more wealth. I did not wish to live in Haden Old Hall. It was old and draughty, with small rooms and low doorways, and reminded me of a less than perfect childhood. No, a modern Victorian gentleman needed a more befitting home, something more modern, something more 19th century. I immediately set about having a brand new house built for myself after I demolished the old farmhouse I lived in. My new home had all the modern conveniences, a hot air heating system, a large and inviting hallway with modern ceramic patterned tiles, a fine staircase, my beloved library, and some fine decor in my dining room, which we will call the Oak Room now. My sister Emmeline married Walter Bassano and had moved to Haden Cross, which was a comfortable large house just over the Halesowen Road from my own park. Walter and my two nephews loved everything new and had to have it when it came out. Electricity, telephones, motor cars. I don't hold with such things and stuck to gaslighting and candles. My new home, however, has never really been completed. My intention was to expand the house by demolishing the old hall, but Frederick's widow, Aunt Mary, still resided there and stubbornly continued to live until 1904, by which point I couldn't be doing with the mess and upheaval and rather liked my small, cosy little house. I've largely kept myself to myself, although I try to help out people locally where I can and hold events in my parkland and pay for the local Sunday school and the building of all the local amenities, as well as support education and new shoes for local children. I also allow newlyweds to walk in the park together, which pleases me to see them enjoying the trees and plants, some of which I have planted myself. I'm a keen gardener, don't you know? Emmy, Alice and myself enjoy travelling and have enjoyed some fine holidays around Britain. Alice is a very good photographer and takes fine pictures, although you rarely see me in any of her shots, as I don't like my photograph being taken. However, Alice is now married to Mr. John Shaw, and they moved into the old hall when Aunt Mary finally shuffled off this mortal coil. John is a fine man, and their two sons, Reginald and George, are a great source of joy and comfort to me. I've never really been fond of little boys, as I find them rather noisy and boisterous, but these two young gentlemen are a wonderful and a delight. Ah, yes, I have had a happy life here at Haden Hill House, and feel very blessed.